Hi, it's Father Barry. It's Wednesday. Yes, so let's see. The 15th of September. And trying to stay a little bit lighthearted, I thought I would do today and tomorrow the top 10 list of St. Joseph. I used to like David Letterman, the TV show, when he did a top 10 list. And they were usually kind of fun to follow. So I thought I'd do something like that for you. Okay? And inspired by something I saw months ago on Catholic Cafe and EWTN show. So, top 10 things about St. Joseph on this day, on Wednesday. Today we'll cover the first of the first five of our top 10 list. Hi, in this episode, I'd like to talk about the top 10 things about St. Joseph. Top 10 things. You know, I realize that not everybody's been watching this show, this program, back since February. Some people are just joining in now. There's a lot of shows I've made. You can just go back and play them anytime you want from February 1st on and learn about St. Joseph. I also have a period where I lead up to St. Joseph's feast day, and I lead you in a book called Consecration of St. Joseph. So that would be a good thing to do in the year of St. Joseph, to go along with me and prepare for a consecration. So that's part of this tape. Well, today I'm just thinking of top 10 about St. Joseph. And one is, I think, he is a faith historian. He is a faith historian. Now, this is me looking up into the skies and saying, is that really the best one in the top 10? To start with that. Why not Christmas? Joseph gave us Christmas. That should be number 10. That should be all 10. Well, that's just too obvious, okay? So, you know, the best thing about Joseph is he's part of Christmas, okay? Let's just get that out of the way. And now let's get to Joseph knowing his salvation history and knowing that he's stepping into that. He's stepping into famous history for the Jews and the long-awaited promise. Joseph knows the history of the covenant of the people of Israel. He knows the story going back to Moses' time. He knows the Genesis story. Okay? He knows his patriarch Joseph, who he's named after. He knows that story. Okay? He knows the occupation of the land under Joshua. He knows of the 12 tribes of Israel. He's familiar with the tribe that's down by Jerusalem and Bethlehem and the tribes of the north, where he lives in the time that he raises Jesus. He knows the faith stories of the Maccabees and the great time of sacrifice and martyrdom. He knows the story of the prophets and when they were. He knows of the big exile and the return back to the homeland to rebuild the temple. Joseph is a faith historian. He knows that. What about ourselves? You should know your history leading up to the Christ coming, and you should know your church history now and what we've gone through and where we are now as a church, and understanding your part now to play in the salvation story, that what you have to play now is a very important part. Joseph understood his part was important, and now we're all grateful for what he did, for his part in being the father role for Jesus, raising him, foster father, being the husband to Mary, okay? But he understood that he was now living in a fulfillment of a faith story, of Messiah coming. And he also knew the Messiah was likely to be born in his family tree, since he was a son of David himself. So Jesus was a son of David. So Joseph was a faith historian, and we need to know our faith and know how we are part of God's plan today. In our top 10 things about Joseph, number 2, okay? Number 2, Joseph was a protector. He protects Mary, he protects Jesus. He is responsible for them as husband, as father, as head of the family. He is a protector. We know that he has to take measures to bring his family to Egypt, take measures to wait and come back only when it's safe and go to Nazareth. He has to take measures in all those years with Jesus there. And he is watching over his family. That's his job. And he does it well. He does it quietly. And he serves Jesus right up to the point where Jesus will then become public. So what about us? I think, men, you know that your role is to be a protector too, like Joseph. You got to protect your family, protect your wife and children, okay? More than that, you have to protect the church. You have to protect the reputation that we have as Christians, to live morally, to live good, to live in service to the Lord, to live holy to God, and that to live church, to live the life of the church. We need men to step up and especially do their role like Joseph and be a man of God. Of course, Joseph is a role model for anybody, not just men, okay? And he is a role model of somebody who is just so good. And we have to watch over each other. We have to play a protective role for each other too, because there's a lot of temptations out there. There's a lot of evil out there. There's a lot of people living rather nasty out there. And we need each other's help to watch each other's back. Number 3 in our top 10 list. I'm having fun with this list, just putting the ones together that we've talked about over all these months. What's important? I think Joseph's purity. We believe that he is innocent when he marries Mary, and he marries quite an innocent woman, a virgin. And the two of them, they wed and they bring their lives together. And I think both of them were more committed to live the single life, really, but end up finding themselves paired up by God. But then when Christ, the babe, comes, well, then they really are living together, but also in that original kind of vocation of being single of heart to God. And blessed are the single of heart. Blessed are the pure of heart. And Joseph, he is just so pure of heart. And I think of his being pure with Mary. He's not led by lust. He's led with a noble purpose, like it says in one of the books of the Bible. And that book is Tobit. I marry you for a noble purpose and not of lust. And so Tobit is a man that marries a woman, and a wonderful love story there, and almost God arranged by the way it happened. And the same thing with Joseph and Mary, God arranged. But there's a purity of heart that they practice together for each other. They honor each other. And as husband and wife, they have an intimacy. But Joseph, we don't believe, has a normal life of sexual intercourse with his wife. And so his purity is extraordinary in that he has to live pure of body with her. And if she was one of the most beautiful women of all time in the world, and one of the most wonderful hearts of all time. You can imagine that Blessed Joseph in his purity, that was an extraordinary practice he did.